Hello, beautiful people. I'm tuning in to speak a little bit about this year so far. How I've been feeling, what's been coming up for me, what's been true for me. And I was just about to go on a walk, and then it started raining like crazy. Maybe you can hear the rain in the background. But yeah, I've had a tough year, really tough year. Um, it's been really deep wounds that have been triggered for me. Um, my womb went through really hard stuff, and I feel like from that, it kind of triggered all the deepest things within me. So I have taken a lot of time for myself. I have also dived into like really deep things and went back to destructive patterns and so far forth and so on. So it's been a challenging year for me in many ways. It's also been a really beautiful and illuminating year for me as well. Um, I've been seeing how even in these really hard times, I have so much more resilience and openness and reflection and insight than I would have even like 2 years ago. So even though I've been diving into the hard stuff and going back to old patterns and feeling a lot of wounds, it's been much easier and a much more loving way of going through that than it's been in the past. And it's because all of the work I've been doing, and also because I've learned to choose myself and be there for myself, even when it's hard and tough, even when it's painful more and more. And it's of course an ongoing journey, and it's always switching and changing. But I'm happy to say that I'm approaching myself in a whole new way. And I'm noticing how things that I wouldn't do before just come really easily to me now. And I kind of catch myself in that and like, oh my God, I will never be able to say that or do that before. I would never be able to set that boundary or stand up for myself or say what I'm thinking and feeling or be true to myself in this way. Or, it's just beautiful to see how even though it's tough and hard in many ways, these things that I've been working on are going on in the background anyway, and I'm still working on them. But I just wanted to share like a little bit about what's been triggered for me to open the space to share for everybody. And just to kind of to just share and be open and vulnerable. So I've been really noticing this feeling, this belief, this feeling, this wound of feeling unwanted, feeling unworthy, but mostly just feeling like really unwanted. And like the pain and resentment that I've been feeling from that, from old childhood things. And I've been feeling quite broken in many ways. So I've had phases when I've been really focused on what's broken, what needs to be fixed, and instead of focusing on the healing part of it. So I've been having those phases as well of just feeling really broken and like a failure, unlovable. So all these things have been coming up for me, but in a really, really deep way. And I have also been questioning who I am in a really deep way, questioning everything from what I'm doing, what I'm putting out to the world, to who I am, my sexuality, even my gender. I've been feeling like I've been working through conditioning of what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a man, what it means to be human, and kind of like taking apart that conditioning in a really deep and really uncomfortable way. It's been really scary and at times really overwhelming. And I've been feeling it really intensely, like all the emotions and all that's been going on. It's been really intense and hard. And I know, because I've been through it before, that going through this is the process of awakening. So I believe that awakening is not like you awaken once and then your life is, whoo, it's perfect. I believe that awakening is an ongoing process throughout your life, and you're awakening deeper and deeper, and you have this like cycles of going to the shadow and light and going through this extremes and going to the edge of things to see them more clearly, to see yourself more clearly. So everything is part of this path. And that's been leading me, this experience has been leading me to that even deeper. So the wounds that's been triggered are, and I know this, but it can be hard to practice when you're in the midst of the stories that you're telling yourself. But I know that they're coming up for healing, they're coming up for love. And I've been working with these patterns before, so it's not like this is new to me, but the way that they come up is new. It's like a new layer, a new way of seeing all of this, and a new way of identifying in the world as this human. And that is also an ongoing process, I believe, throughout our lives, that we find more parts of ourselves, we integrate more of ourselves, we face our shadow when we are ready for it. And it helps if we have people around us that are supporting us in that and being there for us. And I have really beautiful friends that are there for me. And I also go to a psychologist for trauma therapy, and I do something or go on something that's called craniosacral therapy, which I enjoy and recommend with all my heart. It's really wonderful with balancing, but also processing these deeper emotional things in a safe and supported way, with someone that is really holding space and helping you activate those self-healing properties that exist within you. So I truly recommend that. And I truly recommend finding a practitioner that you resonate with and that you feel safe with, truly, really, and feeling into your body about that, because it's truly important. And being open to like switching up and changing and listening to your needs. So having support is important. Being able to have people to talk with, it's important. But I've been noticing how sometimes when I feel vulnerable or sad, how the pattern of trying, like judging that or trying to get rid of that has been coming up for me, because as a child, I'm extremely sensitive and I'm really in touch with all that's going on inside of here. And I would constantly get criticized and belittled for being sensitive and crying and showing my emotions. And I would get really judged and called names and all of that. So I've internalized that judgment and really strayed away from my vulnerability for a long, long time. And these past years have been like a journey to embracing that gentle, sensitive, vulnerable part of me, that little child, that feminine, loving, just open part. And at times it's been challenging, and I am in no way, shape, or form perfect on my journey. I like to point that out because that's just the way it is. We can have this idea of things being perfect, and we heal, and then we get on the other side of it and everything is perfect forever. And of course, as we heal, we embody more and more of our soul, we embody more of our truth, we become more authentic, we open up in many ways. But that doesn't mean that the challenging or tough times or lessons won't be there, or challenging emotions will go away. It's not about them going away. It's not about becoming the superhuman and transcending your humanity. It's about embracing your humanity and embracing all that is coming up and handling it and being with it in a different way than you previously were. So it's not about running away from it, because we often talk about in the spiritual world about oneness, but then people speak about oneness and just dismiss the shadow or try to get rid of the shadow and talk about only light. And for me, it's truly not logical to speak about oneness and then yet dismiss like the half of existence and parts of us that are parts of us. We can't deny them, but we can be there for them in another way. So dismissing shadow, dismissing pain, transcending all of that, I feel like transcendence in itself is really misunderstood. But dismissing all of that isn't doing us any favor, and it certainly isn't oneness to do so, in my humble opinion. But how can you say that something is one and then deny something in that one? It just doesn't make sense to me. And personally, I've done a lot of shadow work, a lot of inner work, and I have met really ugly parts of myself. I have met really parts that can be sadistic and like really greedy and selfish and hangry and rageful and just seek vengeance. I have met all of these parts of myself. So in that meeting myself, when I see that in somebody else, I can have more compassion for it because I understand where it comes from. I understand that it's this woundedness and pain. And when I say that, I don't mean to engage with people that are hurting you or accepting behavior that you're not comfortable with, or allowing people to like be a pushover or a doormat. It's not about that, but it's about having compassion for that and understanding that, and not shying away from that which is uncomfortable and painful, but being able to hold space for it. And if someone isn't ready for that, that's their path, and you're not responsible for it, but you're responsible for how you respond and how you are with other people in their darkest places. So with having these experiences, and with having these wounds coming up, and with having all of this going on, I feel really called to serve and to devote myself and to stay consistent with my practices and the creative work that I'm doing, that for now is behind the scenes and I won't be talking about it. But the work that I'm doing, I feel more open to it than ever. I really feel it coming through in a new way, because I can see the patterns and like stories and pains and wounds inside of me so clearly, so I can also see how I can support others in that journey. So I believe that to embody and serve as a healer, you need to do your own work and observe yourself, because if you're not doing that, then you can have all of these ideas and knowings, but you're not embodying them. You're not actually practicing them. So the power of them won't be as potent as it could be, as when you have this deep personal understanding and empathy and compassion for what a person is going through. But these deepest wounds have been really, I can feel them like in my womb. I can really feel them in my womb, and it's like this a deep hurt and a deep pain, and I feel that it's personal and collective and ancestral. So it's many layers of it, and I've been working with that for like maybe 2 years now, and there are so many layers to it that are coming up and that I'm experiencing. And I'm being gentle with myself and patient, and returning and remembering that it's a journey that I return to over and over again. So that's what I had to share for now. I also, as I'm seeing my little thingy here, want to give you this recommendation of this mat, spike mat. That is, I really enjoy this when I feel blocked in my body and when I feel that energy is getting stuck. So I lay on my back or on my stomach, like not with my boobies, but because that would hurt, but just here. And I lay on it and I feel how the blood is starting to flow and the energy is starting to move, and I breathe with all of that. And it really helps to get that stuck, stagnant energy going for me. So if you know that you have this pattern of holding on to things really deeply, then I really recommend a mat like this. It's really nice. And another thing I wanted to say is that I know that I've came to this earth, that I'm here to do really deep work with myself and with the world, and serve to be a supporter and space holder in that healing for others as well. But how I know that is that the wounds that I'm experiencing and the traumas and the pain is really a lot about shame. So it's a lot about shame, and shame is really dense. Shame, when we have grown up in that, it becomes a part of our DNA. It becomes a part of our structure. So it's this, like, shame is this really deep, dense emotion, this deep feeling, this embodiment of feeling completely broken, completely unlovable, completely unworthy, and just feeling like a deep hatred towards oneself. It doesn't have to be that way. It's the way that it has manifested for me and other people that I've talked to. And a lot of the work that I'm called to do for myself and others as well, but mostly for myself at this time, is around sexuality and identity and shame and trauma. So that is like really at the root level of things, like the root of everything. And that is work that we often avoid. We like to stay up here in this more pleasant places, maybe not the throat chakra, but we like to just not go to the denser, deeper stuff. And I myself have ways of avoiding and bypassing. I'm not saying that I'm perfect and that I have this figured out, but I'm always called back to these places deeper and deeper, and accepting that deeper and deeper, and staying with that shadow deeper and deeper. So I know and feel, and like really feel in my whole body, that the work that I'm doing for myself is really deep work, and I'm honoring that. I'm honoring that, and I'm open to that. So I'm honoring that what I'm doing is ancestral stuff and collective stuff and personal stuff. And I'm honoring that it's a journey, and I'm honoring that there will be different phases of this journey, and I'm honoring myself in those phases. So I have a much deeper acceptance than I had before, tolerance that I had before, resilience that I had before, for these deeper parts. And I know that working with shame is, because it is a part of your structure, it is a part of like how you see yourself and identify, and like it's just such a deep identification with that, needs to be gentle, loving, and slow work, because it's not about overwhelming ourselves, and it's not about re-traumatizing ourselves and just, going in with this goal-oriented, result-driven, like, I'm gonna heal. Because that works, of course, that works in a way, but it can be more harmful than actually beneficial, because we're going to these deepest places, these places that we've been doing everything we can to avoid. And when we're not gentle and loving and compassionate with that, and patient with that, we can just end up re-traumatizing ourselves. And just, so I'm slowing down, because when I notice myself speeding up, I want to get down into my heart and my womb and speak from that place. But when we notice that shame and that deep things, that gentleness and that openness will do us much greater efforts and will take us much further than pushing ourselves because we have this idea of how things should be or where we should be. And we're coming from a much deeper place in that healing. So we're not coming from a place of getting it done or staying on this superficial level healing because we want things, or healing because we feel like we need to fix ourselves, but we're coming from this much deeper level inside of ourselves. We're coming from this deep devotion to our souls, to our beings, to our humanity, to the planet, to all living beings. We're coming from this place of healing me means healing all of it in a way. So that deeper place for me, it might not be this way for everybody. I'm speaking from my experience. Comes much easier from gentleness and patience and taking things slowly and honoring those boundaries and touching upon this shame deeper and deeper as I go. So being kind and gentle. I just want to invite you before I go to spend some time with me here and now, just breathing, being here with yourself, and dropping into your body for a while. Just begin by noticing your breath, not doing anything with it, just noticing how it is right now. And you might notice by just noticing it, it deepens naturally or becomes more shallow. And however you're experiencing your breath right now is okay. Notice what is present for you, what is coming up for you, what is inside of you right now. Noticing if there are any stories coming up for you, or if you get distracted by the next thing, what you should do. Just allowing that restlessness to be there as well. Breathing into it. Noticing if there are any places in your body where you hold tension, or when there is energy stuck or stored. Just breathing into that. gently softening it. And if you hear the rain, you might want to imagine how the rain is washing things away, purifying what wants to be purified, giving to the earth what might feel hard to bear on your own, allowing her to hold that with you. By letting the rain wash it down. And if it feels good, if it feels right, then I would like to invite you to release some breaths with sound and feeling how that feels in your body. And just really letting it out. I'm the one that's putting this on YouTube, so do it with me, knowing that you're not here putting this out on the internet. So breathing in and releasing a sound in your own tempo and your own pace. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh. When you feel satisfied, and you can stay here for as long as you like. Mean to move your body. Still breathing, feeling into your body. And whenever you feel ready, open your eyes. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for witnessing me and dropping in with me. And I'll see you next time. Bye.